This is Narcan. It helps people who are overdosing, which I feel the need to talk about because they gave it to somebody on my porch this morning. Narcan is the over-the-counter version of naloxone. This is the version I use as a paramedic. I also had a version of this in the military because I've done medicine both here and in the States. Fun fact, I saw way more gunshot wounds here than in Afghanistan. I'm now going to try to explain to you what this does. And to do that, I'm going to wildly simplify things to the point where I'm almost wrong. This is not for medical professionals. This is for regular people. I don't want to see a bunch of comments about how I didn't explain the parabrachial cochlear fuse complex, okay? Because that's too much. Inside your noodle, you've got these things called opioid receptors, which are like Legos. And opioids click into them. And that's what gives you all the fuzzy good feelings. And also makes you stop breathing. Opioids depress the respiratory drive through a very complex process that I'm going to be honest, I do not understand. Because I didn't need to. I just know that when the opioid Lego clicks into the brain Lego spot, it makes them not feel like they need to breathe anymore. And Narcan is like a bigger Lego. A Duplo, if you will. And that shoves the smaller opioid out of the way, and it clicks into the opioid receptor. The opioid is still floating around in your system, so when this runs out, the person will become high again. But as long as this is in the system, it is clicked into the opioid receptor, and therefore, they start breathing again. So to simplify that even further, if they're high on an opioid, and you give them Narcan, they'll breathe again. And all you have to do is stick that white part up their nostril and go, now here's the rub. They're going to wake up and be so mad at you because you took away their high. And if they were a reasonable person, they probably wouldn't be doing heroin. So we had to teach young paramedics that it was a very bad idea to push it all at once right as you rolled into the ER unless you wanted every nurse there to hate your guts. Now, in my last video, I said that this should be readily available and free. And I have been shown that New York, in fact, has a bunch of community outreach programs that can give you Narcan for free. And that's amazing. But my original point still stands. The New York Police Department has a budget of $5.44 billion with a B. That makes them one of the largest armed forces on the planet Earth. So I think they can afford to buy a whole bunch of this and just give it out at every police station like candy so that they could have less of an abuse problem. Most of the time, people don't overdose because of the heroin. It's something else is mixed into it, usually fentanyl. Fentanyl is wildly more powerful. Like a smaller amount of fentanyl is like hundreds of times more powerful than the same amount of heroin. So when they shoot up the amount that they normally do, suddenly they're overdosing because there's a stronger medication in the mix. And this is a medical problem. There should be sites, free, clean sites where these people are able to deal with this medical problem. But since there's not, thanks, Reagan. This should be free and readily available. And if you have a budget of $5.44 billion and the ability to call in close airstrikes because of that one time in September back in 2001, then you should be able to give this out. When I was in the Army, we had Narcan readily available. If you guys want to play Army, then you should too. The police officers themselves have it, but I think that they should be giving it out to whoever wants it. Anyway, this has been a public service statement I didn't want to make because I had a patient I didn't want to have on my front porch this morning. Back into retirement I go. Goodbye!